morning, guys. I'm glad you're all here. Thank you for joining me. Many of you felt that earthquake at about 11:47 p.m. East Coast time, a magnitude 2.9 earthquake near Eaton, Georgia. So far, 605 people have reported to USGS that they felt this earthquake. According to EMSC, it was actually a magnitude 3.1. 21 reports were sent in to them. One person who was in Eaton said it was small shaking and a rumble, but besides that, there was no damage. Another one said that the whole house shook and a couple of pictures fell from the walls. It lasted about 5 seconds. About 8, almost 9 miles away to the south, they said their whole house shook and their windows rattled. Almost 14 miles to the northwest, they reported that they heard the rumbling noise before they felt the actual rumbling in the bed. 2 more reports, 14 miles northwest. This one said they felt it shake for about 15 to 20 seconds. They, too, also heard the rumbling before the shaking started, and it shook their whole house. That rumbling they heard was actually the P wave of the earthquake. Let me make this bigger. The P wave is the first wave of an earthquake. The second wave is the seismic wave. The P wave goes directly through the earth, where the seismic wave, the second wave of the earthquake, goes around the outside edge of the earth. So when they reportedly said they heard it before they felt it, that was the P wave. See, here's another report where they heard it before they felt it. They thought it was an airplane flying too low. Then they could feel some movement, but it was not a lot, just enough to catch their attention. Another report said they heard a boom, but didn't feel any motion. Another report said there was a low rumble that went on for a couple of seconds. Another report said it sounded like thunder. Now, about 19 miles southeast from where the earthquake actually was located, they said it vibrated the windows and woke up their teenage daughter, which is almost impossible. And then they laughed, LOL. About 21 miles east, it says they were in Blue Ridge. At about 11:45, they heard a loud rumble, sounded like an explosion, and then felt the bed shake. More than likely because of the felt reports, USGS keeps changing the magnitude of this earthquake. They said it was a 2.6, and now recently they're reporting it was a 2.9. USGS gave it an intensity level of 6, which is quite surprising. Intensity level 6, felt by all, many frightened and run outdoors. Heavy furniture moved, but a few instances of fallen plaster and damage could have happened to chimneys. Damage slight, and like I said, that is intensity level 6 right there. This earthquake is what they call an interplate earthquake, meaning there is no known faults. There is some ancient faults that seem to be recently activated, and it is in what's called the Eastern Tennessee Seismic Zone. Now, the Eastern Tennessee Seismic Zone I got drawn out best I could in yellow. You can see it goes all the way up to the border and comes down. It is also within this green zone, which is the Southern Appalachian Seismic Zone. Plate movement is only about 1 millimeter a year. So as the crust pressure builds up, it creates a weakness of the Earth's crust. And we also have mountain building going on. And there's some really deep ancient fault zones that seem to have been reactivated. But we have seen this happen a lot with the weakening of the Earth's magnetic field. One day, who knows when, the Earth's magnetic field will flip. I remember a paper that I read, quite a while ago. You know, over here we got the Atlantic Ocean that's growing, moving towards the west. But I read a paper how the Earth's crust in this area is slowly falling away down into the mantle of the earth. This is an area where there has been a buildup of pressure from crustal deformation. Crustal deformation is necessary for creating interplate seismic zones. An old fault that runs through Eastern Tennessee Seismic Zone is bent instead of being straight, which created additional fracturing in the area as the North American plate slowly moves over time. There has been large earthquakes, interplate earthquakes of a magnitude 7 or larger in the past. The most well-known interplate earthquake of such magnitude was the New Madrid earthquakes of December 1811 to February 1812. 3 magnitude 7 or greater earthquakes shook southeastern Missouri back then. In 1886, Charleston, South Carolina had an earthquake that killed nearly 60 people. So let's go to that location of that earthquake, right down there. That one was a magnitude 7.6. There is often a lot of small earthquakes there in Georgia that people don't even feel. This monitor here at the top is from Athens, Tennessee. Let me bring it over. You can see all the very small earthquakes, and I'll pull it back another 4 hours for you. And let's bring it over. And we'll go back another 4 hours. There's only one that I would mention over there. And then we'll go back. It'll take us back to this earthquake right here. They really cannot predict when the next large intraplate earthquake will occur. It all depends on how much pressure has built up. I thought, well, maybe you could study the magnetic anomalies that might be going on. But the earliest, the most recent paper I could find was from 2001. And let's bring this down here for you. You think there would be something that was more recent. Up over here is where the recent earthquake occurred. So reference, there's the borders, the line for the border. Let me make that a little bit bigger for you. Yeah, a little disappointing they haven't updated that. So according to the felt reports that were sent into USGS, it had an intensity level of 6, which means it was felt very strong. But I have not found any of that actually listed here on the map of the areas. You can see it's the darker colors, but that would be an intensity level of 4. Now they got one way over here, which is close to Gainesville. Here you can see intensity level of 6. Southeast it says. USGS does not answer the questions that myself would wonder about. Yeah, they just don't care. Report the earthquake, and often they don't even report the proper magnitude of them. EMSC said it was a magnitude 3.1. I come up with a 3.16. It does not matter where you take the reading from, as long as you got the entire seismic wave. And it looks like it stopped somewhere in that area. There's the spectrogram. Yeah, I had a comment that you would get different readings from different locations the farther you are, but that's not true. As long as you have the entire seismic wave. Yeah, let me bring this down and I'll show you. Right there, 3.16. So EMSC was right about the magnitude of the earthquake actually being a 3.1. The University of Memphis, Tennessee was off. That's my opinion. A lot of the new people ask, why are they downgrading these earthquakes? Well, it's all about money. If you want people to move into an area that is seismically active, yeah, it could affect the prices of property. People might have second thoughts about visiting the area, so that would, affect commerce, tourism. It's always about the money. You want people to move in and build businesses. And if there's going to be a large earthquake coming of a magnitude 7 or greater, there would be extra expense for retrofitting buildings. Governments may claim that they care about people's lives, but in actuality, they don't. They want to control them. They would just assume that those that are not productive for society just move someplace else or die. It's always about the dollars. Are you earthquake prepared? There's cheap things that you can do to be earthquake prepared. You can go out and buy a couple $1 bracket and make sure those bookcases are bolted to the walls. Make sure you don't have heavy objects above where you sit, either being when you're sleeping or, sitting down and watching the TV. Bolt the TV. They have straps for about $7 to strap your TV to the walls. Landlords should have the hot water heaters bolted to the walls with flex hoses coming off for the water. Know how to turn off your water and gas lines. Yeah, can you see your gas stove jumping out into the middle of the room and disconnecting from your gas line? Do you know how to shut it off? Do you have a tool, a wrench, to shut them down? Do you know where the shutoff valves are located? Are they out at the street by the curb, or are they underneath the house where you can't reach it when your building collapses? Do you have a fire extinguisher? Do you have an escape ladder if you're in a 2-story building to get out in case of fire, whatever, an intruder? So if you have any other thoughts, please put those comments down below. I want to thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for subscribing. Please thumbs up my videos. Please share. And I'll talk to you later. God bless you. Bye.